Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to start with discrete mathematics, and in that subject, we are going to look at sets, subsets, power sets, and different sets operations. So the first thing is, what is a set? So a set is a well-defined collection of distinct objects considered as a single entity. Sets are usually represented by capital letters such as A, B, and C are for sets. And when it comes to elements of those sets, we represent them by lowercase letter A, B, and C, like that. So if we need to write, let's say A is an element of set A and B is not an element of set A. We use the symbol epsilon and epsilon cross for the respective users. Let's take a quick example. Let A is the name of the set and it has the following values 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we consider 2, so 2 belongs to A. And if we consider the element 5, then element 5 does not belong to set A because there is no element 5 here. Only up to 4 is there. Moving on to the methods of representing sets, we can represent them in two forms. The first one is the roster form. In this form of representing sets, we list all the elements. Let's say we have a set A with the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is the roster form of representing a set A. The second form is the set builder form. Here we describe elements with a condition. So let's say we have set A that has elements denoted as X, and X is an even number less than 10. So when you will convert this form into this, the output for this will be set A equals X, and X is an even number less than 10. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. Here we are not including 10 because it is less than 10, not less than equal to 10. Now let's have a look at the types of sets. So the first one is finite sets. So these type of sets have a countable number of elements in them. Then we have infinite sets that has uncountable numbers. Empty or null set that has no elements and is denoted by phi or simple curly brackets. Then we have singleton sets. In this type, there is exactly one element like this, A equals 5. No other element is there. Equal sets. Same elements and order doesn't matter. For example, A is 1, 2 and B is 2, 1. These sets are equal, even though the order of the elements is different. Then we have subset. Every element of A is in B. Then it is called as a subset. Ignore this A. So if we take the example, let's say we have set A as 1 and 2. And we have set B as 1, 2, and 3. So A has two elements, 1 and 2, that are exactly there in set B. So A is a subset of B. So firstly, what is a subset? As we understood in the previous slide, that a set A is a subset of B if every element of A is also in B. And there is another term called as proper subset. That is, A is a subset of B, but A is not equal to B. Then A is a proper subset. So we can calculate total number of subsets for n elements using the formula 2 to power n. Let's take a simple example. We have a set S with elements A and B. What can be the subsets? Firstly, an empty set, then A alone, then B alone, and then AB. These are the 4 subsets. And if we put the value into this formula, how many elements do we have? We have 2 elements. 2 to the power 2. That is 4. So we have only 4 subsets for a respective set S. Moving on to supersets. So set A is a superset of set B if all elements of B are also in A. If A is a superset of B, then B is a subset of A. So let's take an example. A has the following elements and B has the following elements. All the elements of B are there in the set A. And if you use Venn diagram, you can represent this as set A and this is your set B. So this implies the set A is superset of set B. Power sets. The power set of set A, often denoted as PA, set of all subsets of A. So let's take an example. We have a set A with the elements 1 and 2. Alright, and the subsets of this will be an empty set 1, 2, 1 and 2. And the set of all of these subsets is the power set of A. And the cardinality of this power set will be 2 to the power n. So here 2 to the power 2 because we had 2 elements, so it will be equal to 4. Cardinality is equal to the number of subsets of a given set only. Moving on to the set operations. So the first operation is union. That is A union B. All the elements in A and B or both are represented into this set. Let's take common examples for all operations. A equals 1, 2, B equals 2, 3. So the set A union B will have the elements 1, 2 and 3. The second operation is intersection. Intersection represents what common elements we are having into those sets. So A intersection B here will only be 2 because only 2 is the common element in both the sets. Next is set difference. That is A minus B. Here it will be simply equal to 1. Last operation is complement. So you can denote it as A dash or A bar. So all elements not in A relative to the universal set U. So let us introduce a universal set U here that has the elements 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And A has the elements 1 and 2. So A complement will have the elements that are not present in A respective to the universal set. So the elements will be 3, 4 and 5. This will be the answer for A complement. Moving on to the Venn diagrams. So Venn diagrams provide an intuitive way to represent different set operations and understand them better. As you have just understood mathematically, they might be confusing, but Venn diagrams make them much easier for you. So let's take the first Venn diagram for the union A union B. So this is set A and this is set B. And A union B has all the parts shaded across both the circles. Then we have A intersection B. Similar to that, we'll have a set A and set B. Its section is the common part. So this will be the shaded region. Then have A minus B. Let's say this is set A, set B. So A minus B will be this region. And vice versa, if there is B minus A, so this region of the Venn diagram will be shaded. The last one is A dash or A bar, that is simply A complement. Let's say we have this as the universal set and this as set A. So all the part apart from set A in the Venn diagram will be shaded. Now we need to understand about set identities. So the first one is idempotent law that says A union A is equal to A and A intersection A is also equal to A. Then we have the domination law that if we are having A union U, that is the universal set, it equals U. And if we have A intersection phi, that is an empty set, it will be equal to phi only. Commutative law, these are the basic identities that you understand in simple mathematics also. Let's say we have A union B. So it can be also written as D union A. And if we have A intersection B, it is equal to B intersection A. Then we have associative law, A union brackets B union C can be represented as A union B union C. Then we have distributive law. If A intersection B union C is equal to A intersection B union A intersection C. Lastly, we have De Morgan's law, and it is quite important in sets theory. Let's say A union B complement is equals to A complement intersection B complement. And apart from this, we have A intersection B complement equals to A complement union B complement. It just negates the entire term. Now, the last part for this video is a quick example. So, let us consider that we have a universal set U with the elements 1, 2, 3 up to 6 and a set A with elements 1, 2 and 3 and a set B with elements 3, 4 and 5. So, the first thing we need to find is A union B. So, what A union will be? So, we have 1, 2, 3, 3 is common, data, rest is 4 and 5. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 as A union B. Next, we need to calculate A intersection B. So, what do you find common in both these sets? 3. The answer will be 3. A minus B. What it will be if we are subtracting the values? These are not considered because they are not present in the set. So, what we are left with? 1 and 2. The answer is 1, 2. Next, we have A complement, which is equals to U minus A, simply. So, what elements do we have in A? 1, 2 and 3. Leaving them in the universal set, the rest elements will be an answer for A complement 4, 5 and 6. So, that's how you're going to work with simple sets, theory and their basic operations. You might be thinking, why do sets matter? So, sets are the foundation for everything else in discrete maths. So, they appear in logic, graph theory, algorithms, databases and programming. In short, everywhere sets are there. So, that's a wrap up for part 1. In the next part, we will look at propositional and predictive logic. And if you found this helpful, of course, give it a like, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel to help us grow. I will see you in the next video. Till then, happy learning.